All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to your favorite WMMA podcast. It's hashtag CB99 Talks, episode 188. I know y'all are thinking, wait a minute, didn't he do the episode yesterday? I did, of course, but due to some technical issues, once again, I'm re-recording the episode for y'all. All right, so yeah, here we go again, y'all. So if you missed the show, here it is. But if you heard the show last night and you want to hear it again, hey, I'm here. All right, so yeah, man, I'm back again with another episode, y'all. Few things I want to talk about in this one. Got a lot of stuff to discuss here. I want to talk about this past weekend's fights, of course. The first UFC card of the year had three solid WMMA fights. I just want to run through those again and just kind of get my take on the winners of the fight and see what's next for them. All right, and of course, as y'all know, y'all see right here, Bellator MMA is no more. So I just want to get my thoughts on that and kind of fill y'all in on where, the Bellator brand is going as far as the fighters and the whole direction of PFL from here. All right. And of course, this weekend, UFC 311, we got one WMMA fight between Rosa and Klein Perez. And this one here, I see a lot of people are it's really balanced in this one. For a newcomer like Klein Perez, a lot of people are seeing some growth in her. And, they think she has a good chance to make a big statement. I've been hearing that from a lot of people here. So, yeah, I want to talk about that fight a little bit. But, yeah, man, this past weekend, we had some good fights. It was a good opener for 2025. All three fights were solid, two strawweight fights, one flyweight fight. I think everybody, did what they were supposed to do as far as, just putting it together. Ernesta Karascatai versus Nicole Cagliari. That was a good fight. Fatima Kline, Victoria Dudakova, Mackenzie Dern, and Amanda Ebos. Finishes. We got a couple of finishes, and that's something that we've been looking forward to, as far as WMMA fighters, picking it up in there and, putting themselves on the map, especially for Dern and Ebos, coming back in a rematch that nobody really asked for and a main event, for Dern to go in there and get a good finish. Definitely made a big statement to kick off 2025, right? But yeah, also Holly Holm. Holly Holm is parted ways with the UFC. She's gone, but doesn't mean she's gone from the world of combat sports. Looks like she's trying to venture off and do some other things. So yeah, we can talk about that as well. But yeah, man, this past weekend, like I said, was good. And there was a lot of other news I've been hearing. Of course, Invicta FC's got a new card coming up next month. I'll talk about that, in another show or another live stream. But yeah, man, as far as like organizations here, my first reaction to this, man, Bellator MMA, just hearing that it was gone, I was like, wait a minute now, hold up. Like, I saw it posted up on several accounts, several different fighters' accounts. But when I first saw it, I think it was on Juliana Velasquez, her page, like a few days ago. And I saw Bellator MMA and I saw her picture. And then I saw 2008 to 2025. I was like, wait a minute now, somebody passed away? Like, I wasn't trying to be funny or anything or dark, but the way it just had like her picture there and then it had the years right there, I was like, wait a minute, who passed away? So I was like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, Bellator. It brought me back to reality. I was like, I remember people were telling me Bellator is going to be gone. And I said, okay. And they said, thank you for everything. I was like, all right. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, so I had to keep reading. So yeah, Bellator is no more. It's gone. So PFL, as y'all know, they bought them out. They pretty much bought the brand almost a year ago. So everything that is Bellator is basically going to PFL. But I was just reading through this article here on MMA Junkie, and PFL pretty much put it out there. Don Davis, he broke it down. He said, look, Bellator brand is no more. PFL released an official statement addressing the future brand of Bellator. PFL acquired the brand and its roster of fighters. So all the fighters have gone to PFL. In November 2023, Don Davis, he publicly shared the statement. He said that Bellator brand will no longer be used, effectively ending that brand, which was founded back in 2008. So from this point forward, it's all PFL as the company continues overhauling its product, including eliminating its signature season tournament format. All right, so it's going to eliminate that season tournament format. I guess they're still going to do some type of format of tournaments because I saw Tyler Santos just posted up a few days ago that in April she's returning for the tournament. So I don't know how they're going to do that. I think they're just getting rid of the point system. But yeah, from here, it seems like that seasonal thing that they were doing is going to be gone. I guess even with the PFL Europe tournament, that might be trashed as well. But let me see here. The full official statement says PFL acquired Bellator MMA 1 year ago primarily for its great fighter roster. The brand has become synonymous with the win in advanced format and product innovation. PFL has established itself as a premium brand doing things different to help grow our great sport of MMA. Going forward, all fight events and content will be PFL branded. Bellator brand carries a rich history that will continue to be respected and appreciated through select feature title bouts. Fans will continue to enjoy the immense Bellator library and so on. Yeah. And all our fighters are now integrated and connected in one powerful PFL brand worldwide. All right. So, yeah, all fighters, that you see here, that Cyborg, even if Ali Malay's still fighting, Juliana Velasquez, Denise Kielholtz, all these fighters, they're going over to PFL now for sure. So you should see them fighting more now. I know you saw Juliana Velasquez in the tournament, and you did finally see Chris Cyborg fight Pacheco in the PFL tournament, right, for that belt. So moving forward, all the other fighters that have been pretty much inactive, hopefully you start to see them more. But let's see here. It says, moving away from the Bellator branding is just a part of the PFL's changes into 2025. There'll also be a season tournament. There'll also be no longer a season tournament with $1 million prize for the champion. All right. So I guess like what Tyler Santos is doing, we'll see. Like, I guess it's part of something else, but it just seems like the way she posted up that they're going to do the tournament one last time, I guess, or maybe not, but they're not doing $1 million prize from what I understand here. It says here that PFL. Okay. Yeah. So PFL is not completely abandoning tournaments. It will now host a Grand Prix style single elimination tournament in which the winner wins $500,000 now. So they're going away from the $1 million, right? They're going away from that format, which they were doing since 2018. They did like 6 seasons of that. And now they're going to the like a Grand Prix style tournament for $500,000. So, okay. So they are still doing some form of a tournament, except this one's more basic. It doesn't have that crazy point system where, some of the winners wind up fighting all the losers again. You know what I mean? Like what kind of messed up that last tournament, So this one makes more sense. They're doing a Grand Prix tournament. So that's what Tyler Santos is talking about. So she'll be part of that $500,000 tournament. All right. So, yeah, my thoughts on this whole situation. I mean, shout out to Bellator. I love watching them from the jump, since 2008. I've been watching them, always tuning in. And it is a big part of why I did start watching WMMA as well. They had some good fights, good champions over there, good action too. Of course, they didn't have like the best like the UFC, but they did have a lot of good performances over there. So it's kind of sad to see them go, but I think we all saw this kind of coming, right? We all saw this kind of headed in that direction where Bellator just didn't really have a good marketing strategy towards the end. Used to watch them on Showtime, and seemed like after a while, the platform just started to kind of go down. It just started to kind of water itself down. The cards were very few and far, like champions fight once a year. You see Pitbull, he was kind of complaining about Apache Mix. He wanted to be released because he was only fighting once a year now. But that was kind of going on even like before COVID. I believe like even 2018, 2019, even when they hit that 10-year mark, it wasn't really as fire anymore, So I think we all kind of saw this coming because even 2020, the PFL Europe side, Bellator, Bellator Europe side of it, not the PFL side, but the Bellator side of it, got rid of their roster over there. Fighters like Mandy Bohm had left. I believe, Danny McCormick was over there, because she was from Ireland, so she had got cut at the time. A few other fighters too that were like from Poland that I was keeping an eye on. They had got cut. So it was just kind of crazy at the time. A lot of fighters being cut, a lot of fighters not getting their fights that they need. Nobody's being able to defend their titles. So I kind of saw it happening. So whenever PFL bought them out, I was already thinking, there's going to be a point where they just trash that name or put it to rest, and it's just going to be all PFL, and that's what it is. So moving forward, I hope this benefits the fighters that are there. I hope this PFL tournament works out better where the rosters get to fight more and maybe even bring in more divisions, because even Bellator, again, towards the end, they didn't really have a strawweight division. The featherweight division started chopping down to like a top 7. The flyweights were kind of inactive. The skill gaps were kind of far and wide there. So hopefully moving forward with PFL, they're able to sign more and bring in more fighters throughout this tournament so they can just be active. They got to make money and they got to stay sharp. So yeah, man. Again, Bellator's had some good fights. Chris Cyborg's fights. Denise Kielholt's one of my favorite fighters over there to watch. As of lately, they had Sarah Collins be able to put on some performances over there. So I still remember from the good fights that they had. But yeah, moving forward, I guess it's just for the best. It's a lot of boxing promotions I've seen in the past, they've had to call it quits too. So yeah, RIP to Bellator. Hopefully they move forward with PFL and start to put more fighters out there, and hopefully their champions can be active over there. So yeah. But yeah, let me know what y'all think of that whole situation as well. Like, what do y'all think about PFL moving forward? Do you think they're going to give these fighters more money or have them fighting in a more comfortable space? What do y'all think? But yeah, man, yeah, going back to this past weekend, going to the UFC Fight Card, first card of 2025. Good fights for WMMA. Got to say that again, man. These are some solid fights. This flyweight fight between Ernesta Karaskatai and Nicole Cagliari. Good fight. Very close fight. I was picking Ernesta. First time around, I didn't think that she did enough to scoop the win. She got a split decision over Cagliari. I thought Cagliari fought hard. And for somebody that was giving up 6 inches in height and almost like, 4 or 5 inches in reach, I think she did really well. You really have to contribute a part of that to Ernesta not being able to fight tall. I think Ernesta, of course, she just started in the UFC. This is her first victory that she picked up, right? But moving forward, as a big fighter, in the division, one of the tallest fighters, she's really going to have to learn how to fight tall. Because first time I watched it, I said, okay, I think she lost the fight when I was watching with y'all. But second time around, I said, okay, this was a close fight. I think I can see where she edged this out. She landed a lot of headshots, a lot of heavy strikes. But Cagliari did get some good takedowns in. Girl is strong. I mean, look at her physique. She's physically strong, has a pretty solid ground game, and has some good hooks. Landed some good hooks on Ernesta Karaskatai. At one point, I thought, man, she might clip her and knock her down, man, because she was going to the body hard, landing hard right hands, and, just kind of outboxing her at times. But Ernesta stayed in the fight. She would pick it up, and I think steal some of these rounds with, high volume, those high volume moments, those exchanges. She would kind of back up Cagliari. But still, man, I think that, she gave up too much. She gave up her height. And even her cage fighting, it really wasn't like she was setting up good knees to the body. It was just like she was pressing to the cage and just trying to outstrength Cagliari instead of like bully her and beat her up on the cage. There really wasn't a lot of like moments where she was, digging to the body. And that's what I'm saying. Like when I see somebody like Ernesta, 5'9", not even like a lanky, scrawny flyweight. You know what I mean? She's a big flyweight. She's a big muscular flyweight, tall, long frame, and has the nickname heavy handed. You would think that she would be bringing them heavy hands like that, knocking girls out. But when I compare to somebody like Dakota Ditcheva, who's not in the UFC, all right, I have to admit, when I look at it now, comparing Dakota and Ernesta, I say, okay, Dakota could be something special because look how she uses her height. Look how she uses her size. Look how she uses her frame on the cage. She knows how to posture up, get those tie clinches, land some knees to the body. She knows how to throw that left hook to the body. She can throw those push kicks to the face. She'll like to engage sometimes, but she usually waits till she breaks her opponents down. She just doesn't get into firefights like that. And if she does, she makes sure she's making sure that she's on that end where she's landing the heavier shots. So I think, fighters like Ernesta, they got to learn how to fight big. They got to learn how to fight tall. And, you can't give up your height like this. You can't let these little girls come in there and bully you, because there are times where Cagliari was, taking her down, just kind of tying her limbs up and even, getting on the inside of her with body shots and overhand right. So I think moving forward, Ernesta, she's heavy, she's strong, she's tough, she can take a punch, but you really don't want to fight that type of fight. You want to be dominant. So the more I look at Dakota, you gotta appreciate that. As a striking fan, I appreciate that. Whenever a fighter, they fight tall and they don't give the smaller fighter any leverage, they dominate. You gotta be able to do that, especially if you're going for the belt. And especially for Ernesta, she's in a division where, she's in here with a lot of heavy grapplers and a lot of hard hitters as well, So moving forward, if she's fighting girls like Karine Silva, she's got a Viviana Araujo, she's got to be able to keep that long leg in the face, keep that push kick in the face like Dakota did against like Tyler Santos. You got to be able to control and use your height. So hopefully moving forward, Ernesta, gets with somebody that's going to help her fight tall. She's got that Lithuanian connection, like I like to say. And, that's something I think she could say, okay, let me connect up with Rose Namajunas, Trevor Whitman. They could have her doing wonders with her height and working on her footwork instead of, just kind of plodding forward at times and just throwing hands. Because I didn't really see her throw too many kicks in this fight. Cagliari threw more kicks, I believe, but Ernesta, she was just throwing a lot of punches. It was almost reminiscent of Irene Aldana, tall, long boxer. So hopefully she learns from that. It was too close of a fight. Like I said, it was a split decision. It could have went either way, but seeing those holes like that, a lot of short grapplers, like even Miranda Maverick, even Montana, those girls could take her down. They could take her down right away and, out-muscle her on the ground. So, yeah, she's got to learn how to fight tall, use that length and physique like Dakota did. Because, yeah, I believe when Dakota comes, Dakota will see advantages like this over these other girls and say, I'm sticking straight to my height and my power, and that's what it is. That's why I say fighters like Dakota, like I said, their resume isn't the best, but they fight. Fighters like her, they fight like they want to be on top. All right, they fight like they want to be on top, and that's a big difference than just saying, okay, I like to pick and choose or say, oh, I fight this person because they're more worth it. No, they just fight to get there. They don't care who it is. They just gonna fight whoever it is, and if you're in their way, they're gonna do what they got to do. All right, but yeah, other than that, it was a good fight. I just didn't really see like a good threat out of this one. Moving forward, they're gonna have to step out of the box and really showcase something. Like for Cagliari, I think she's just going to have to tighten up on her defense a little bit, be more grappler heavy. I know she couldn't really do that in this fight because she was facing somebody long and tall, but she did get some takedowns whenever she had a chance. But I think she throws a nice left hook to the body too, though. I think she does. And I think moving forward, you'll see her be more explosive and actually take out some of the girls that are more so her height. I think that Cagliari will be able to advance a little bit more here. Not sure if she'll make top 15 yet, but we'll see. Same thing with Kara Scotti. We'll see. All right. Fatima Kline, Victoria Dudakova, big finish for Fatima Kline. Good way to really make her official debut in the UFC. This is one of these fights where, I was riding high on Fatima Kline. Definitely saw her win in this one. In the fashion that she did, it was crazy too, man. Like, I didn't see Dudakova trying to grapple this hard with her. I thought Dudakova would have tried to be the counter striker here. I know she does have a lot of submission wins, but I thought that she would have played more of a striker here, just look for those openings instead of trying to grapple with Fatima Kline. But Kline, she really impressed me with the way she kicked it off by throwing some nice jabs and just playing the counter grappler and counter striker here, just waiting for those openings herself and landing some nice leg kicks. So I think right away that long jab kind of forced Dudakova to want to engage, in the grappling, and she wanted to prove that she was stronger, but she failed. Kline just took over in every position, the scrambles, just overall good control too, just letting Dudakova lead. But every time Dudakova would try to get in a certain position, whether it was trying to get the arm bar, get the back. Kline's one step ahead, and boom, she's turning into a guard, transitioning from into the close guard to full mount. Just some nice scrambles from Fatima Kline, accepting some of the takedowns just to get her work in and land some heavy elbows. Just really doing a good job of busting up Dudova. But yeah, good solid win for Fatima Kline. I think that Fatima Kline will be in the top 15, if not by the end of this year, sometime early 2026. Don't want to rush her like I do with some of these other fighters, but I do see a lot more in her than some of the other fighters I've been, saying the threats. I definitely see her being a lot more comfortable on the feet. It looks like she's falling in love with her striking, but she's not overdoing it. Like you'll see her go right back to her roots, use her grappling, use her ground control, use her wrestling. I like that about her. She's using her height, her size, her reach. She's 5'6", long reach for the strawweight division, and she's using everything to her advantage. She's tall like a Joanna almost, or like a Rose, but you'll see her using a little bit of everything, the striking and the grappling. So I think that's going to be a problem for some of these other girls. Like if she's able to fight somebody like Palostri, Knudsen, Pierre Rodriguez, Demopoulos, I think she has enough to handle a lot of these girls now. So I like to see her in there, Palostri next, or Pierre Rodriguez, any of those type of girls, even Vanessa Demopoulos at some point, to really test her. And if she fights some of those girls, move on up to Denise Gomes or Loma Labugni, and then eventually you'll probably see her fight for like a top 15 spot. As for Dudova, man, she's been having a rocky road here, starting off with the weird staph infection thing and then canceling a fight right before the walkout. And now the latest where she scores her biggest significant strike against her significant other, right? She slaps her husband / coach right after the fight. Guess she's a little disappointed in the way it went. Maybe she was disappointed in the choice of game plan maybe he had for her, and she decided to take it out on him. So hopefully she cools off a little bit, and they just go back to the drawing board and work on what they need to. But that's two in a row for her, right? Yeah, she lost to Sam Hughes and Fatima Kline now. Moving forward, we just need to see a little bit more from her, committing to using her height and her reach and being smarter with her takedowns. Not everybody's going to be able to just get an easy takedown and succumb whenever you pressure in like that. Girls are evolving, and I think that her takedown strategy was very basic. It was very basic. That's why somebody like Kline, who's a polished grappler, jiu-jitsu practitioner, she had no problem. So moving forward, hopefully she's going to polish it up mentally and technically as well. All right. But yeah, Kline definitely high on her. I think she'll make top 15 maybe by the end of the year, next year. Definitely one of my favorites. Not going to go into the whole triple threat thing with strawweight yet, but if you ask me about anybody at 115, I'm going to say Fatima Kline. All right. So sticking to the strawweights, Dern, she makes a big statement, gets some get back in big fashion against Amanda Ebos. I mean, solid finish for Mackenzie Dern here. This was the one pick I got wrong, of course, but I got to give Mackenzie Dern a lot of credit here. One thing I will say about her, even though she makes a lot of mistakes, is there's no quit in her. And when you don't have any quit in you, eventually you'll really humble yourself and figure out what you're doing wrong in there, and eventually it'll come together. And I think Mackenzie Dern, she's getting to a point where patience is a big part of her game plan, part of her strategy, and mix that with her self-discipline as far as becoming stronger, making weight, and just really putting together a better game plan as far as her striking, her takedowns, her wrestling. It'll make for a dangerous fighter. It'll really make for a dangerous fighter at strawweight. Sometimes it takes the long road for some fighters. And for Mackenzie Dern, she's fought a lot of people in the strawweight division. She's fought a lot of different people from Verna, Jan, Tisha, Marina, Andrade, Lemos, Lupi, all these different fighters she's fought. And they've all helped her grow. They all helped her grow. And this one here, I think it's another one that builds up her confidence. Amanda Ebos, to me, I will say, I'm not taking away from her win, but Ebos did look a little bit different here. I don't know if it was the weight or if she's just kind of fought out now or kind of hit her peak, with her team. But her strategy from the jump didn't really look like a good solid Ebos. She was eating a lot of leg kicks, couldn't really land a good strike off top, being the longer, taller fighter. Like, she was the one chasing Dern here. Dern did a good job of moving side to side and staying on the back foot and landing good leg kicks, and got a good solid takedown. And every time Dern would take her down and get it to the ground, you could really see that this fight here, Ebos wasn't in control like she usually is. She was really struggling to avoid the submissions, in my opinion. It looked like she was kind of panic wrestling, where she was just holding on to Dern to avoid the arm bars or any kind of submission attempt. She was just holding on at times to try to steal around because it wasn't working out on the feet. So, going into like the third, you could really see, like, when the strength started to go, that's where Mackenzie Dern started to escalate. That's where she started, that's where you really started to see it fall into place. And I could see the strength difference from round one when Dern got the takedown. Ebos didn't look as comfortable as she did like in the first fight. So yeah, you could definitely see like some changes there, a lot of improvements there. Because like she said in the first fight, she just had her baby. She was in that position where wasn't really feeling it mentally and physically. But since then, that was like 5 years ago. Big change in Dern, right? You expect to see those type of changes. So yeah, man, shout out to Dern for getting it done and making a big statement here. She's been a full-time strawweight. So yeah, I think she's earned it. From here, I like the humble path that she's taken. She says, maybe one or two more fights before we talk title. That'd be a rematch with any of these other girls at the top, like Verna, maybe Andrade, or even Yan Xiaonan. If not any of those fights, say Lemos or Andrade at some point, that would be a good fight for her, I think, because I think Verna, she already called out Yan, so that would be a good title eliminator. So we'll see what happens from here. But yeah, Dern, man, I like how she's moving right now. Hopefully she'll get to some point where she will get in that position. Do I think she'll fight a title eliminator one day? Sure, of course. I think she will. I think she'll fight a title eliminator here one day. But will she ever fight for the title? That's another question. All right. But yeah, I do think that Dern, moving forward, ironically, I think the rematch that would make more sense for her would be the person that she beat, which is Verna Jandiroba, right? Because everybody else that beat her, surprisingly, they've kind of failed. Andrade, Lemos, and Marina, they're all kind of in that same position, but they haven't really advanced like that. Like, Verna's actually in a position where she could argue for a title shot, right? And where Verna stands now, since when she fought Mackenzie Dern, she's beat some of those fighters that she's lost to. She's beat Marina. She destroyed Lemos, So you see a lot more growth there too now. You see a lot of improvements in Verna. So Verna is definitely not going to be the same Verna that fought Dern. That's why I say one day Dern could fight for the title eliminator, but fighting for the belt, I don't know if she'll get to that point, because when girls like Verna and even Yan Xiaonan, who's getting better, with her takedown defense and power, her striking, I think she'll be trouble. So those girls that beat her, well, Yan beat her and Verna lost to her. Verna's come far. Verna's definitely come far. She's ranked higher too, so that's wild, But I think that's a fight that should interest Dern a little bit more, even though she has a win over, it'll lead her in that direction, right? So yeah. Shout out to Dern, but Ebos, man, I don't know what's next for her. Maybe like I said, she needs to really get her head straight, find out where she really wants to be, 125 or 115. Maybe that going up and down in weight, those weight fluctuations or fluctuating in weight is really starting to get to her. I don't know. We'll see. But I think they just need to really find out where they want to fight at and what they need to change up in the striking department, offensive department. Different things need to be changed up there, because Dern really put a beating on her too. Here, she can't keep taking beatings like this. Ebos can't. So yeah, good weekend good past weekend, fights moving forward this weekend. I know we only got the one, Karol Rosa and Eileen Perez. I'm kind of picking Karol Rosa. But I could definitely see Eileen Perez winning this one. Not really a fan of Eileen Perez, as far as, I'm just not really a fan of Eileen Perez right like that. But I will be truthful all the time and admit when a fighter is getting better. I will always give a fighter their respect. And Eileen Perez has looked better in each performance. She's had a good 2023. After losing to Stephanie Edgar in her first fight, she's on a 4-fight win streak. She's beaten the lesser fighters, proved that I won't call them lesser fighters because, Jocelyn Edwards, has a lot of experience. Jocelyn Edwards has a lot of experience. Lucy Pudilova had a lot of experience. She won unanimous decision wins over them. Then she finishes Daria Zeleznikova. That was another fighter I was high on, good hard striker, tall, long fighter. But she went back in there, submitted her, So Eileen Perez has definitely been showing some different levels here, striking, the takedowns, the ground and pound, the elbows on the ground, next to Kayla Harrison. I'd say her, Eileen Perez, there are fighters that really like to work the ground and pound, and that's what we need more, that type of attack on the ground, not just lay and pray, and she's been working with Jillian Robertson now too, working with Jillian. I think that's kind of rubbing off on her. That type of experience on the ground is making her better. So yeah, I could definitely see Eileen Perez coming in here and getting that work in and making a statement. Because again, you see her covering all bases, the boxing, the takedowns, ground and pound, her jiu-jitsu, wrestling. It's coming together for her. I will admit that. So if she was to win, I wouldn't mind. I just really wouldn't care to see the victory dance, but that's what usually stops me from wanting to see her win. But yeah, I think she definitely has it in her. Karol Rosa, on the other hand, I think she's a hard hitter, hard striker, deadly leg kicks, but she kind of lacks in some areas as well. When she stepped it up against experienced fighters, she'll kind of fight to a lower level. I expected her to outstrike Sarah McMahon, but I think Sarah McMahon, kind of outstruck her at times and took her down and put her on her back and just had an easy time with her, So when I look at fights like that, the Irene Aldana fight was kind of won for her had she just landed better leg kicks. Like if she just, added a little bit more versatility to her attack, as far as maybe outstriking and then getting takedowns to, just cap off a round instead of leaving herself wide open for shots and strikes and coming straight forward. I think that will help her in the long run. But with the way she fights now, I won't say it's like cut and dry, but in a way it is kind of straightforward. She's coming straight for you in a beeline. Heavy combinations are what usually keeps you back in respect mode. But if you're able to counter her shots and maybe get a good takedown, you can shut that down with ease, So going into this fight here, I kind of see it as 50-50, but I could see Eileen Perez winning this fight, with more of a versatile attack here. It all depends on how Eileen Perez takes the strikes and the heavy kicks and the punches and how she reacts to getting hit by some big shots, if she gets hit by big shots by Karol Rosa. Because I think Karol Rosa, her main strategy to win this fight is going to be her stand-up. It's going to be her stand-up game, and that's about it. So that's where it makes it hard for me to just pick Karol Rosa, because Eileen Perez, she can probably get around that. I think at this point she should be able to get around that. So we'll see how this one goes, y'all. I am kind of leaning towards Perez myself in this one, but we'll see how it goes. I won't be on live for this one, but I will do a video after, because I do want to see how this fight goes. The bantamweight division needs these fighters right now, between her, Cavalcanti, Kayla Harrison, Norma Dumont. I think they're like some of the last bantamweights to really help push this division. All right. So yeah, let me know who y'all think y'all got in this one. All right. And last but not least, Holly Holm, as y'all know, she has parted ways with the UFC with 2 fights left on her contract. So she plans on moving forward in the combat sports world. So some of the worry can go away because she won't be fighting any more of the dangerous fighters in the UFC, but she could be putting herself more at risk in a much more deadly sport. 2 deadly sports, boxing or bare knuckle boxing. And, I say deadly because, boxing has a high death rate. I'm just saying, like, compared to MMA, I know women's boxing is a little different. The power is different, but still, y'all know what I mean? This is a hard sport. It takes its toll on fighters. So when I heard Holly Holm was leaving the UFC, I was like, okay, that's good. But at the same time, I don't think she's done, right? And sure enough, no, she's looking to venture other ways. And when you think of other ways, it's like, what other way is there outside of the UFC but more MMA, BKFC, and boxing? And I pray she's not thinking of anything like Power Slap. Don't even want to put that in her head, but I'm just saying right now, do not touch Power Slap. If you do that, you ain't gonna hear nothing but bashing videos from me all day long. I'm serious. But I think Holly's smarter than that. She wouldn't do Power Slap. I don't think so. But if she chooses to go to boxing, it's going to be a different world. It's definitely a different sport than it was when she was boxing years ago now. I think that she wants to venture into maybe moving down to 135 where she's never fought before. She's targeting fighters like Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, maybe even like Michaela Mayer, which those would be doable fights for her as far as size. Shoot, Chris Cyborg is around there too, right? But I don't think she could just jump right in. I mean, she could probably jump into box, but to win against these girls, it's a different story. Taylor Serrano, they just shared the ring 2 times in some big wars. And everybody knows, boxing, the punches are different. Amanda Serrano, she's a different monster with hers. Her body attack, those straight left hands. She's a heavy hitter, she has heavy hands. And Katie Taylor, high volume, she's tough, rugged in there. These girls, I think they bring something different. Even if you're coming from MMA, they're bringing something different because every punch they're throwing, every punch that Amanda Serrano throws is heavy, bad intention. So somebody like Holly, who hasn't taken that type of punishment in a while, 43 years old, I'm not sure if she can handle that, it would be something she'd have to fight her way towards. And even along the way, some of the other girls that are unknown, maybe even like the girl that there's another Samantha Ryan, is it? Yeah, Samantha Ryan. Girl like her, I think would give. Let me see. The girl that fought Katie Taylor. What was her name? Let's see. Katie Taylor's last opponent that I thought beat Katie Taylor. She dropped her. She had dropped her even in the rematch, right? She beat Katie Taylor, but then let's see. Chantel Cameron. Yeah, Chantel Cameron. Even a fighter like Chantel Cameron, I think she would give Holly Holm trouble. So even if she was to fight somebody like her on her way, Jessica McCaskill, any of those girls she wanted to fight on the way to the championship would be tough. Alicia Baumgartner. Like, what if Alicia Baumgartner wanted to fight her at 135? That would be a tough fight. So, I think she has to think twice. Boxing is not going to be easy either. I mean, she could fall right back in, like I said, maybe pick up some wins and, just maybe get to a big payday, but winning, that would be something different. BKFC, oh man, bare knuckle boxing, that's another one I'd hate to see her in. I just think that's too much. I know she was at the BYB, what was it, BYB bare knuckle extreme or something like that. And, she had talked about liking that sport as well, watching the fights and seeing how quick they pick up. So I don't know, BKFC might be targeting her right now. And who knows if she might want to jump on that road. But BKFC, that's another one, man. Like, I'd rather she do regular boxing because since she came from that background, that would be smarter than to go into BKFC, where it's, so much more dangerous as far as the stoppages and, the beatings. These fighters are getting tore up in there for less amount of money, So hopefully Holly, if she does want to stick around maybe for a few more fights, just go over to professional boxing and go that route, because maybe she can get more money out of that. But I know she talked about still wanting to do MMA and wanting to get another head kick knockout. Well, if she does that, I don't know if she'll go back to the UFC at some point when she's done venturing out, or maybe go to GFL or like PFL's new format. Who knows, But with 2 fights, I'm surprised that they're letting her go, because I know when Miesha Tate retired, she had to come back and finish the contract, right? So maybe she negotiated. Maybe they just talked about it. So, you've been a staple here in the UFC for a long time, had a lot of good fights. You always gave us good fights. You never ducked the fight. So we can let you walk away from this one, right? However you want to do it. You can walk away with 2 fights and you can go somewhere else, So with that, I think that was a good plan for them to do that for her. But still fighting, that's where my radar goes up for Holly. At 43 years old, I don't know, man. I just don't know what else can be done. But yeah, shout out to Holly if she wants to keep fighting. I mean, hey, I just hope she protects herself and evolves in her style as far as defense, and make some changes. All right. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this one, guys. I just wanted to run through this one real quick, and repost this one for y'all. Sorry about that. But yeah, man, with Bellator gone, give me y'all's thoughts on the exit of Bellator now. I guess it was a good idea financially, especially for the fighters who've been, lacking fights, right? What do y'all think of Ernesta and Cagliari's moves? What do you think Fatima Kline goes from here? Dern, do you see her fighting the title eliminator? And who do y'all got? Eileen Perez, Carol Rosa. And what do you want to see Holly do from here? Retire, bare knuckle, boxing, back to MMA, GFL? What do y'all want to see? But yeah, y'all, make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe. Subscribe to these other platforms where the show is now, iTunes, Spotify, and everything like that. If y'all listen on the road, hey, y'all give us a good promotion to WMMA. But on that note, I am out, y'all. Combo Breaker 99. Make sure y'all subscribe. I'm out. Peace.